Critical reasoning. SSC CGL has regularly been asking questions from critical reasoning in the past. It had started more frequently when reasoning was introduced in SSC CGL Tier 2. But apart from that also, SSC has been doing that regularly across examinations, and it's a common topic for logical reasoning nowadays, which with increasing importance every day. 2 weeks ago, I had already discussed with you the deep analysis of critical reasoning, and today my focus is on another aspect which is often confused with critical reasoning, but it is just a subcategory of it, which is social and emotional intelligence and ethical dilemma. So in this session, by the end of it, we'll cover the complete conceptual understanding. I would not say conceptual understanding, just a brief analysis where we will understand what is social and emotional intelligence and what is ethical dilemma, and we will also see a few examples in the end of the session so you'll have to wait with me till the end, watch the session till the end to be able to understand what kind of questions can be expected. And tomorrow we'll have a full-fledged session where I will only be practicing questions from this particular topic with you. Why is this important? Because SSC had recently in a few examinations had asked questions directly from this topic. So now this has become of primary importance. Why? Because we're expecting this in the upcoming SSC CGL exam Tier 2 and probably next year onwards, and other exams of SSC as well. So this can be a new norm for the logical reasoning section, and you need to have an extra set of critical thinking skills apart from your regular skills to be able to answer these questions accurately. So let's start and be with me till the end of the session. The first topic is social and emotional intelligence. Now, in a brief way, I will just tell you what is the difference between the two. Human beings have, up to a very large extent, for a very long time, intelligence was calculated with the help of IQ. With the help of IQ, intelligence quotient. Okay, and it was usually, if you have ever come across an IQ test, it actually consists of a lot of questions which are similar to reasoning only. So if your logical reasoning is strong, those people who by default had a strong logical reasoning section, by default would perform very good in their IQ test. Now IQ is something, intelligent quotient is something which is defined, set, and which is constant, mostly constant throughout your life. So this was the only parameter of intelligence, but gradually they understood that I think how a person is intelligent is okay, but that might not be a sound way or a lone way to check the intelligence level of a person, because it's not just material intelligence, it's not just understanding or your knowledge which is important alone, your education which is important alone, but also grasping concepts, etc., being able to solve, that's not your measure of intelligence alone. There has to be some other parameter. So gradually what was introduced was how a person behaves in a social atmosphere. That is how they called it a social quotient. So they named it a social quotient, but this in itself was also not sufficient. So gradually they also combined this with emotional quotient. So now the intelligence is measured with a combination of all these three: the IQ of a person, the intelligence quotient. The social quotient means how he behaves with people around him. How does he understand the feelings of the others? How intelligent is he or she towards what the other is feeling, the body language, the facial recognition, what needs to be said, what needs to be understood, when do you need to keep quiet, when do you need to say something, how do you need to provide some support to somebody. Basically, in short, how empathetic a person is. Okay, so that is the social quotient. And then the dire need for another aspect started coming up. Now what is that? When you are a very intelligent person and you are openly available to people around you, but you forget to tend to one category, one personality, one person, that is yourself. So that was another lack of intelligence for people. There were sets of people who were counted to be very highly intelligent, but they were deteriorating mentally. So then came the introduction of emotional quotient as well. Emotional quotient means how you understand and recognize your own emotions. And trust me, these are two completely different phenomena. This is dependent on your cues from others, like how you understand cues, you pick up cues, you respond, you react. That is what social quotient is all about, and how you understand your own mental state, or how you are aware about yourself, what you are going through, what you need, how you need to tend to it, whether you need help or not, how well managed you are within yourself, how you are handling your emotions, how you are, channelizing your anger, how you are making it into something beautiful, how you are able to put energy to good use, how you are not spiraling into a negative limbo. These things are your emotional quotient. So a combination of all these three now are the modern measure of intelligence for a person, and this category based questions are actually testing you on your social and emotional intelligence, right? So the measure of social and emotional intelligence are known as social quotient and emotional quotient. Now what exactly social and emotional intelligence are? So as I told you, social means intelligence of your intelligence of how you approach people around you. Emotional means how you approach yourself, within yourself. Okay, so this is what it is: understanding, interpreting, responding effectively to social situations and emotions, self and others. And here it is not simply logic. Okay, why is social emotional intelligence based questions important? Because they will give you scenarios, they will give you cases. So they will give you an arbitrary scenario, a hypothetical scenario, where they will ask you how you would react. So they need to test your social and emotional intelligence now, because now this is the new norm of testing the overall intelligence of a person, of a personality. So this has become a better judge, right? And you're going to be officers in future, so they want to judge you on these grounds, in as far as your logical reasoning is concerned, right? So this is empathy, basically putting yourself in someone else's shoes. So whether you can empathize with somebody or not, whether you can understand what they are going through exactly or not, you can feel it or not, right? Now why is it important? So again, beyond standardized tests, so there can be standardized tests to test intelligence, but now they need to check you based on your social and emotional intelligence, your quotient as well. So it checks your effective communication. It checks whether you have strong relationships. So if a person with a high SQ and EQ is going to be very good at relationships, understanding, and that is going to transpire into leadership, teamwork, holistic problem solving, personal well-being. So overall, if a person scores good in this zone, high SQ and high EQ, these kind of people overall are more, I would say, they have higher chances, have higher probabilities of becoming better leaders, better supporters, having good relationships, having healthy thought processes, and they can give more to the society. So overall, such people are beneficial for the positions, the posts as well, the jobs as well. So that is what they are looking for. Now, what are the key skills required? These are some things which can be acquired gradually also. There are some basic level, some basal level quotients in all of you, intelligence in all of you, but these can be acquired with time. When you understand, when you realize that, okay, this needs to be done, this needs to be taken care of, this is how I should respond. So if you accept that, and if you try to bring a change, there can be some changes, some manifestations which can be brought in, and that is going to actually affect your overall personality, and it's going to improve it, right? So you can recognize emotions, emotional recognition. So these skills are absolutely required for you to be able to solve the questions based on social intelligence and emotional intelligence. You need to be able to recognize what sort of emotion is being depicted, right? You need to have empathy, you need to be socially aware, you need to be self-aware, you need to have relationship management or social skills, and you need to have problem solving in social context. These are the key skills required, and these are the key skills which are tested also. So if a question is being answered, these are the parameters they are checking you for. Okay. Now, how to approach the concept? So initially at this level, whatever questions we have seen so far, they are very easy and very direct, and that is what I'm going to share with you. Very easy and very direct questions. You will not face a lot of difficulty, and you will feel, you will have you will slightly feel, I would say, not real. You are going to get a false picture. You are going to get deviated here, because you will assume that this is the kind of questions which are regularly asked. No, SSC has started this now, so probably they are asking you simple questions. They are not making it very difficult at this stage, but questions can be challenging under this category also. They can put you in very critical situations where making a decision is going to be tough, and that is what they need to check, whether you will be able to take the right decision, right call or not. So how do you approach the concept? You will always develop a human-centric mindset, and here we always say human life is given top priority. Okay, in ethical dilemma and social emotional intelligence, human life, human emotions, feelings, they are given top priority. So your humanity has to be on its front foot in these kinds of questions. You will deconstruct the scenario. That means to understand it, you will break it down into pieces. That okay, this has happened first, then this, then this. I can have a chronology of events or whatever. It is given to me in the form of a paragraph. So I will read everything and try to develop, deconstruct the scenario. Then I will apply empathy systematically. Okay, so now I will start feeling and thinking that what if I was in this position? What would I have done? Okay, and that should be in line with what is the right thing to do. So when I am asking you, you need to be empathetic. You need to understand what you would have done in this situation, how you would have felt in this situation. You also need to respond morally and ethically here. Okay. So, and of course, practice. The more you practice, the better you're going to get at this, right? So social and emotional intelligence. So what is the benefit of this? This is not simple test taking. If earlier logical reasoning section was dependent all on what? Blood relation question, direction question, calendar based question, calculate, give an answer, give an answer, give an answer. This is something which can be improved over time, very easily achieved. So the problem is then the ground for testing is not level, because almost everybody can be, clearing this barrier, and you will not be able to judge the actual character of a person, whether the person is liable or good enough to become an officer or not. So what they do is now they are taking this to another level. As of now, they are introducing here in the written exam, but gradually probably they can be introduced into some sort of a PI. It's not happening now, don't worry. I'm not giving anything, but I'm just trying to tell you, some way or the other, they can assess the personality of a person. So these are the kind of topics which are helpful. So this is just more than test taking skills. They are vital life skills. Social emotional intelligence is actually going to benefit for the rest of your life, right? So you need to work on these skills, your emotional recognition, empathy, social awareness, problem solving. You already spoken about this. And you need to approach it with a genuine desire to understand and respond. It should not be that you're merely reading the concept and you're like, okay, let's get it over with. The idea of social and emotional intelligence based questions are that you need to, so usually in critical reasoning, I tell you, please detach from the question. Do not give your personal opinions, but that is core critical reasoning. Here we are deviating from that. We are now socially and emotionally getting involved in the question. We are empathizing, we are connecting, we are thinking alike. Okay, so that is how you need to answer. You actually need to feel it. You need to feel the situation. Okay, and of course these are going to benefit in your personal and professional lives as well. Now there is another parallel topic here. The parallel topic is ethical dilemma, and a lot of people confuse them. They feel like they are one and the same things. No, they are not. They are similar though, but they are not the exact same thing. In social and emotional intelligence, you have to be, it's expected of you to be very ethically and morally in the right space. There is no defined space though, but ethically and morally you should be in the right space. Whatever your thoughts may be, but we need them to be in line with the normal societal norms, which are normal regular ethics and morals. But if I exclusively make the question about ethics, okay, right now it's an easy choice between right and wrong. But if I make it a choice between right and right or wrong and wrong, then which one do you choose? If I'm not giving you any right option. I am giving you 4 wrong options. So if technically something of this sort is happening in real life, you would not have taken any of these 4 steps, probably. But despite that, now you need to choose one. So what are you going to choose? Or if I'm giving you 4 steps, either of them can give the correct thing for you. They can be the right thing. But what is the morally the best possible thing which can be done? So that becomes a difficult choice for you to make when you have to choose between right and right or wrong and wrong. And that is why a dilemma is created, and hence the topic is known as ethical dilemma. Dilemma based on ethics, on morals. So there the value of ethics is on the top. It's the most important thing there. There also some sort of social intelligence is required, your emotional intelligence is required. So hence these topics, they kind of overlap. Slightly, not completely, but slightly they overlap, and hence a lot of people mistake them to be the same. So I want you to do one task now. After today's session, once you understand what it is all about, please try to differentiate. Whenever you're attempting these questions in the mocks, try to differentiate whether this is from ethical dilemma or social and emotional intelligence. Okay. Now, when I talk of ethical dilemma, it is a situation where an individual must choose between two or more conflicting options. Okay, partially this will be right, partially this will be right. Now you have to choose what is the correct one. Okay, each time you may not be presented with the best scenario in the options, so you have to choose from whatever is there in the options. Now that's the real question, but that's not how they are asking. They are again asking on a very simple level. It's usually very easy for you to decide what is the correct answer so far at this stage, and hopefully this is how it's going to be for the next few years, but you never know, they are going to make it more and more challenging, like they're exactly doing with critical reasoning now. If you remember earlier, critical reasoning statements or questions used to be very simple. They used to ask majorly from statement conclusion, statement assumption at max, one or two liner statements, and then simple two conclusions, and used to give your answers. And mostly it was in line with the fact that whatever is mentioned in the statement is true, whatever is not is false. But now they are increasing the complexity. They are asking you questions from arguments. They are asking you which argument is strengthening the statement, which is weakening the statement. You know, what is the counter premise of this? What is the actual premise of this? And it's not, I think it's the day is not very far when they will start introducing small paragraphs rather than a single statement. They will start asking you paragraph based questions, and then we'll move on to the passage based questions, which are the epitome of critical reasoning. So we need to go there gradually, and they're taking you there gradually. That's how they're raising the bar each time. Okay, so as of now, at this stage, ethical dilemma is very simple for you, but generally that's how they do. They'll put you in a situation where conflicting options will be given and you need to make the correct choice. Now, none of the options is an ideal solution. Okay, nothing is ideally wrong. Something or the other will be wrong, but out of that, whatever is the moral thing, the best thing to do, you will choose that. Okay, so as I told you, there will be right versus right, wrong versus wrong, choices between that, and choosing one course of action will compromise the moral or ethical principle of the other. So you need to be very careful about the choices in this way, right? Of course, this also needs your critical thinking skill. So hence we call it an extension of critical reasoning, a sub part of critical reasoning. Now, under ethical dilemma, you need to be very careful about the kind of frameworks you use. There are mental frameworks which you use, and there are frameworks like deontology. There are frameworks like utilitarianism or consequentialism. So you need to be careful about what you apply. I'll give you a brief about these, but you don't need the technical details of it at this stage, right? Why is it important? Again, same set of things you can apply here also. This is just a fancy language, but it's talking about the same thing. It has a real world application. Hence, they ask you questions based on ethical dilemma. It tests your moral compass, your integrity. It develops problem solving skills, and it measures your empathy. So there it was only more focusing on empathy alone. Here it is also testing your moral compass. How morally inclined are you to be able to perform your duty? How human are you in real life? So this is what this topic is actually used for, right? Here again, identify the core conflict. How to approach the question, identify what is the core issue, and also check who are the people who are being affected by this issue. How much help do they need? How you can actually change the picture and bring it into a moral high ground. Okay, so that's the kind of approaches you need. Analyze the stakeholders, evaluate the options, and then you proceed further. Majority of your questions at this stage are going to be solved by options. Majority of them. Simply you'll read all the 4 options and it will be very simply, it will be very clearly visible to you what is going to be the correct answer, right? So in both the cases, it's all about options at this stage, but gradually start developing the thought process also when you are reading this question, and try to assess that why each option is given. They just don't want you to eliminate 3 and answer 1. That is going to make it a very easy question. Sometimes it happens, but try to understand the reason why they have given that option. And if you start understanding that, it will become easier for you to isolate the correct answer when you are actually sitting in an examination, right? Now, apply ethical frameworks. Yeah, this is the one I was talking to you about. Ethical framework like utilitarianism. Utilitarianism, or I would say a subconcept, a subset of consequentialism, actually implies that we are more focused on the outcome than the process. The end justifies the means. That means we are more focused on what is going to be the outcome, the final result, and then we don't care about what road we take to reach there. That is what utilitarianism or consequentialism implies, that I am not inclined towards being always morally, ethically correct as far as societal norms are concerned. But for me, the focus on outcome is good. If the outcome is good, whatever I'm doing is morally right. If the outcome is bad, even if I'm morally in the right framework, I'm doing a wrong thing because the outcome is not right. So I am focused on the result. I'm more result oriented. Result oriented is not the right word, but I'm more focused on what is the final output, and I don't care about the process. These people come under the ethical framework of utilitarianism. On the other hand, deontology is just a contrast. Deontology tells you that whatever the outcome, your process is important, your rules are important, your regulations are important. You need to be strictly following them. You need to adhere to all them so that you are morally correct. Your moral compass is something, you have to be ethically right. So who is defining all this? Society. So society is deciding these are the ethical grounds you need to be standing on, and these are the rules and regulations, you need to follow them no matter what the outcome. If the outcome is good, perfect. If not, bear with it. This kind of thought process is deontological. Now, some of you might belong to this, some of you might belong to this. But in here, you will have to choose this thought process based on the question. Based on the questions, you will have to choose it because that is the best moral situation in that case. When I say morals and ethics, it's not about morals and ethics laid down by the society. It is what is expected to be the best thing to do. The best thing to do. And it is always, mostly it is sticking to the rules. So if you're sticking to the rules, if you're doing the right thing, if you're trying to take the high ground, then it is morally correct, and that is the answer we need to look for. Okay, virtue ethics, when you ask yourself that what a person who has very high morality according to me would have done in this case. Okay, I tell this to people, a lot of believers I talk to. Most of you are believers who meet me usually. Believers means you believe in God, you believe in the existence of faith. Okay, any religion. So to them I teach this, that when you're looking at virtue ethics, don't think about a morally high person, think about God. So when you're in a situation, all of you have been taught something or the other in a religion, that okay, this happens, this is right, this is wrong. This has been going on with us since we were kids. So now use that here. How? Whenever a question is given to you, always ask yourself, if you are stuck in a question and if it's a virtue ethics based question, you need to ask yourself, if God had come down on earth, what would he or she have done in this situation? That is your correct answer. Mostly it works. Okay, so virtue ethics are those. What would a person with moral high ground, a good character would have done? But you can't have that imaginary character in your head. So probably because we are all flawed in reality. So to keep it more real, ironically, you can think of the perfect image you have in your head. That is mostly God for a lot of people. For those who are atheists, again, you can pick up, any person you admire in your life. Now, and then you need to choose the most justifiable option. I have already told you in both the cases, in the previous case also and here also, we are focused on the options. The options are going to drive the exact thought process for us. Options are going to yield the correct answers always. Okay. So ethical dilemmas, test of your character and judgment. You need to prioritize integrity, fairness, public welfare. You always follow rules and protocols. And the most ethically correct answer is going to be your right answer. Right? And so these are the basic things, whatever we have gone through. I've just concluded that here for you. So that was the gist of social and emotional intelligence and ethical dilemma. As I told you, they are almost parallel to each other and they overlap also up to an extent, but they are still different. Your approaches need to be different in both of them. Your thought process needs to be slightly different, and your overall thinking skills will be an extension of your critical thinking skills. So then these questions are also not calculative. They are questions when you need to think. Even if they're very simple, sometimes they will make you stop and make you think. So the next time when you look at a mock test based question, you will have to analyze and be aware and ask yourself and identify what topic does it belong to. So we'll just go through two questions just for the sake of better understanding here. So this is the first one. Okay. Assume you are going somewhere by train. Assume you are going somewhere by train. You have seen a person fall off from your coach. What would you do? You have seen a person fall off from your coach. What would you do? You would wait until the next train stop arises and then tell the incident to authorities. Now you will think like, okay, wait, this can be done. Practically, it's not practically wrong. Is it practically wrong? If somebody, you have seen somebody falling off, train is going on. Now what can you do? You will think, what can I do in this situation? The person is already fallen off. I can't go after him. Okay, and I can't put anybody else's life in danger. So I will wait till the next station arises, and then I'll tell the cops that, okay, the person fell down and so happened and I was a witness. Okay, this seems to be a practical approach. The next one says, pull the emergency chain to stop the train. Okay. Okay. Third one says, you also jump off from the coach. Never do that. So, okay, being empathetic is good, but up to an extent. You can't put your own life in danger to save the others. Remember the announcement in the aircrafts always, save yourself, put the mask over you first, then help others. And shout to the person who is falling to react quickly and return to the train. This is useless. Usually, when you're approaching these questions, some of the options will automatically be, they'll be very vague options. So you'll be able to delete them right away. The main choice is between 1 and 2. What do I do? Should I wait for the next train stop and then inform the, attendant or the policeman or authorities about the person who has fallen down so that they can check? Or should I right now pull the emergency chain? Now, a lot of people overthink. They think that what if the person is just fallen on the tracks? If I pull the emergency train, the train might stop and he might get, something might happen. He might go through an accident. You can't overthink in these situations. It has to be a decisive moment for you. If the person has fallen down, you have an emergency chain. This is an emergency. Please pull the chain and stop it right away so that the person can be tended to, and probably the person is alive. You can tend to him while he is alive, so he can be helped. So this is option 2 is the most appropriate answer here. This question, you will ask me, what question is this from? Is it from ethical dilemma? No, there is no dilemma here. There is no ethical dilemma. There is no dilemma. I knew that this is the right thing to do, the best thing to do. This is social and emotional intelligence based question. This is social intelligence. How you would react to a situation socially. Social situation where you are not a part of directly. Nothing is happening to you. You are there. You are standing in the station. You are sitting in the train. Somebody else is going through this. Can you feel the pain of that person? Are you empathetic enough to help him out? So that is what is the right path to take here. Okay. Next one is, you are a junior officer who discovers a senior colleague is involved in minor embezzlement. The colleague is under immense financial stress due to a family member's illness. Reporting them will likely lead to their dismissal. Now, this is a dilemma. This is a dilemma. You have caught a senior member. You have discovered, you are a junior officer and you have discovered a senior colleague is involved in a minor embezzlement. He is actually, taking funds, probably misusing money, misappropriating money here and there. You have discovered this. Discovered means you have not caught him red-handed, but in some sort of system or somewhere you have understood that, okay, he's doing something. Some sort of an embezzlement is going on and you are clear about that. So now morally what you would have done? You would have got him arrested or you would have reported him. But now they are putting you in a dilemma. This is the ideally the right thing to do, but they are now saying that this said colleague is under immense financial stress due to family member's illness, and hence probably he is doing something of this sort. Okay, hence probably he is trying to take some money because he has no other means. If you don't let him do this and if you get him caught, probably the family member might not be anymore. He might die. He or she might die. So now you are in an ethical dilemma. So if you report them, obviously they will be dismissed and they will have no sources of income and they will not be able to support the family member's health. Now what do you do? This is ethical dilemma. So did you learn to identify? You need to identify the two of them. What do you do? Which of the following actions is the most ethically sound? Ignore the discrepancy as the amount is small. Now actually some people will think like this. Okay, why not? I will ignore it. No. This is an ethical dilemma. I want to choose the person's betterment. The person is only doing it for good. So why not let him do it? You can't be correct here, but still, let's keep it in the loop. Confront the senior colleague privately and threaten to report them. Okay. Report the matter to your superior as per your protocol. Collect more evidence on your own before deciding. Now this puts you in a spot. What do you choose here? What is the best option? A lot of you choose option B as the correct answer. You say that I will confront the senior colleague. I will confront them privately. I will tell them I know already and I will report it if you use it for any other purpose. So I have warned him also. I have scared him off. He will only do it for this purpose and then he will be fine. Okay. So you are not doing the right thing here. Confronting him privately is okay, but you cannot threaten him. Threatening is not going to help. You either report him or you don't report him. You have to make a choice. Threatening is not the right thing to do for anybody. Even if he is wrong, you cannot threaten him. You don't have the right to. You will report the matter to your superior, okay. You will ignore the discrepancy. If you come to know anything, what is ethically and morally right, if I have come to know that something wrong is happening, even if it is my senior, even if it is my colleague, even if it is my junior, if it is anybody, I morally need to report that. I cannot keep it to myself. Okay, and this is the moral rule, this is an ethical rule, that if you come across something which is actually path breaking and it is negative, you should not keep it to yourself. You need to report it. If it is meant to be reported. If it is somebody's personal secret which is not going to affect any organization, which is their personal, then you speak to them. You can confront them if you want to, or you can keep it to yourself. But if it is organizational, if it is something which can change the course of an organization, and if it is something where embezzlement is going on, where money laundering is going on, where anything negative is going on, where something like a crime. See, even if he was embezzling money, even if it was for greater good, but he was committing a crime. So here you are thinking, if you remember, you are thinking from the deontological view, that you need to be morally right. You are not thinking from the utilitarianism view, that is the final outcome is good, so I can let go the process. No. So you are choosing it according to the question. Okay, so this is also not right. You cannot ignore it. You need to report it. Collect more evidence on your own before deciding. This is a very vague answer. This is not a moral thing to do. Okay, this is a way to get away from the question always, and you will have one option always which is going to take you away from the choices. It's going to tell you that yeah, don't think about this question, you go solve the next question, go, you're done here, collect more evidence and do it. No, that's not the right thing to do. If the person, I have caught him, embezzling money, I need to report him. That's all I can do. Whatever will happen later on. So option C is the most appropriate answer here, that I'll report the matter to the superior as per the protocol. Then the superior has to decide what needs to be done. I have done my duty morally, right? So that's it for today. The idea was to give you a brief understanding of both the topics, a good analysis so that you understand the difference and you also understand how to approach this, right? A lot of people have seen these questions, but nobody is, aware of exactly how we need to attempt these questions, and they are all making guessworks by reading, which are giving them right answers because the questions at this stage are very easy, but they are going to put you off, they are going to throw you off in future. So be prepared. Tomorrow I'll bring practice questions from both these sets, from both these topics, and we will discuss them in detail, different scenarios, different dilemmas, so that you will understand how to pick up the correct answer from the lot. Thank you so much for staying with me till the end, guys. Thank you so much for joining this session live. Please share this session, hit the like button right away, and if you are new on the Oliveboard platform, subscribe right away for this wonderful content. Bye bye, namaskar, Jai Hind.